Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the fella, the kind of like the behind the scenes St. Louis High School Champions League, somewhat like a commissioner. Terry Michler, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Kevin. Commissioner, that's a new title. That's a good one.
Yeah. And the story is, you got, there's all kinds of people that are pitching in on this, that it's an amazing effort. It's really something to see in action work. And we're several games have already been played, and you found out to this to have people on site. The committee at large said, "Hey, this is the way to go." So if somebody doesn't know something at the venue to play, they can ask one of us, an on-site manager, and they will be able to do the deal. Now, you went through an extensive give and take on what to seek as meeting the standard. And there was a, what do you want to tell everybody who the on-site managers are, and then how it really worked out? We get it like a checklist.
Okie dokie. Let me go through this Champions League and site managers, why they're important, who they are, how we came about this. Let me go through all that. I guess the easiest thing, the quickest thing is the site managers that have volunteered to help us out this year. And we're very appreciative of them. Dan King, soccer people know him as Dipper, former coach at men's coach at UMSL, and a longtime soccer enthusiast in St. Louis, former player at Indiana University. Dip's retired from coaching, but wants to stay active, and willing to help us out, which is huge. Also, we have Joe Morgan. Joe is continuing to be the goalkeeper coach at Chaminade High School. So he's still actively coaching, but not the girls in the spring. So he's available to help us with the girls in the spring. We have John Schafering. John's a St. Louis U High guy from days gone by, and a real great soccer enthusiast.
And SIU.
Soccer personality. He went to SIU and played there. Great guy. Had three boys. Two of them played at CBC with us, and one of them played at SLU High. But John's just a very giving kind of a person. And right away, when we put out the request, he responded immediately. Wanted to help out. Wanted to do as much as he could. So we're grateful to that. Our host of the show, Kevin Whalen, he's one of our site managers, and with the podcast, he's a dual threat. He's going to be a site manager, but he's also going to have the ability to do a podcast of the games that he's covering and other games. And Kevin has been probably one of our biggest proponents of spreading the word about the Champions League. He does it anywhere where he can, as often as he can. So we really are grateful to that. And then we have another retiree, Vince Drake, longtime coach at in North County Schools, Aquinas, and then it became Aquinas Mercy, and then it became Aquinas Mercy Rosary, which became Trinity. And offering to help with this as well. And it's also, in addition to being a board member on our Champions League movement. So those are currently the people that we have. Greg Keller is in contact with a few other people that are considering. So I think we got 5 right now. And if we could get maybe, if we could get 8, I think that would be great. And what we do is we ask them to cover games and make sure that the protocol and the pageantry of what a Champions League game should be is carried out. So that's point number 1 with the site managers. Now let's go back in time and talk briefly about the Champions League and answer the question why. Why a Champions League? What is it about the Champions League? Okay, so 2 points always come to mind when I want to talk about this. One is the background and the significance of the Champions League as it is at the highest level of soccer. It's the UEFA Champions League, which is teams from all throughout Europe, throughout the leagues in Europe, that qualify for the Champions League by their final position in the standings in each of their leagues. And depending upon different criteria, and the criteria is pretty much the same year to year, but each nation may or may not satisfy it to the same degree. So, for instance, everybody doesn't get the same number of teams to qualify. It depends on how well your nation does in the different competitions throughout Europe. That determines how many teams your nation gets to qualify. So, for instance, one year England might get 4 teams. Next year they might get 5. Uh, Spain might get 3 or 4. France might get 2 or 3. Some of the smaller countries might get, okay. So, but it represents the UEFA as a European Union. So it's just the European get to compete. It's an annual event, unlike the World Cup, which is every 4 years. The Champions League every year. And it's a year. It starts early, and it finishes usually late May. Starts early. Usually starts in early elimination rounds, September, October, and then proceeds through the pool play and then the knockout stages and then to the final. So that's the background on the Champions League. So what we did, and the second point about it, is we created a high school version of this, which was originally started in Tampa Bay, Florida, with Jim Hart and Dave Wilson and a couple of Barry Vanderbeck. They're the original people that started, I think, about 8 years ago now, I think it is. And they brought it to our attention. Barry Vanderbeck, St. Louis guy, brought it to our attention. Oh, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago. And so we just finished the second year with the boys and are just starting the second year with the girls. Um, so Tampa Bay started it, and there's 3 other cities, areas, communities in in Florida that have it. St. Louis has it for 4, and there's a list of others that have expressed interest, and that we have contacted and provided them with information that are considering joining. So it's very feasible that within a year or so, we could have up to 8 to 10 cities around the country that are participating in this Champions League. Now, it's mostly going to be local competition. I really don't see it where the competition spreads nationwide, but we'd like to get the concept of this Champions League to go nationwide. Our goal, our hope, is to get teams from everywhere in the country involved in participating in the Champions League. Uh, and one thing that's common to any community that takes the Champions League on is that we have our 5 basic pillars. And one is it's free. You don't have to pay to participate. it's it's you got to qualify. Okay, so you just don't get in by raising your hand and say I want to get in. In Missouri, the qualifying components are that you have to either win a district championship or be a highly ranked team in the Missouri Power Ranking. We have 16 spots in our Champions League, and we take teams from classes 3 and 4, the two largest classes, and we'll take a team from class 2, which we have in the past, Clayton High School, if they've been successful over periods of time. So, like Clayton had a couple state championships at level 2, so they were included into our Champions League. The third thing is that it's regionally based, so it's merit based. You got to qualify. It's free, and then it's local. So, like in our St. Louis area, we don't include the Southern Illinois teams. We don't include some of the teams in like Central or Mid Missouri. Our geographic boundaries is to stay within the city and county, St. Louis County limits. So we go out into St. Charles and areas like that, but we don't overextend the boundaries. The fourth criteria is that it's coach collaboration. What that means is that each region, each area that has a Champions League, the coaches in that area come to an agreement about how they want to run it. How do you want to qualify? What criteria you want to use to play under? How do you want your scoring, your point system, your playoff format to look like? So coach collaboration means that the coaches in each area decided. So what we do in Missouri, in St. Louis, is we've done this through what the coaches in the participating teams have agreed. And in Florida, they have 3 different groups. In Florida, they do it 3 different ways down there. They do it each way that each area wants to do it. Okay. And then the last one is it's student centered. So the idea is that point number one is free, so nobody has to pay. It's not like schools or even individuals have to pay, but it's student centered in that we have a couple of awards that we present to the students, but it gives every student in the schools a chance to participate in it. And that's really, really huge. Some of these players may be deprived of playing high level club soccer because of financial reasons or transportation. They can't get to places, they can't afford to do it. So this takes all that out of the mix. This allows every kid that goes to a high school to be able to participate in this competition. So those are the 5 pillars. Um, we do it in St. Louis because we felt a real strong need to elevate the interest in high school soccer over the more recent years. A little quick history. St. Louis always had the high school Christmas tournament when soccer was in the fall, which was up until 1975 when it switched to the fall. I mean, soccer was always in the winter, excuse me, up till 1975. So prior to all that time, the big tournament was sponsored by the CYC, Catholic Youth Organization, Catholic Youth Council, and they would have the Christmas tournament. And that would be a huge draw, huge draw. From one year to the next, graduating seniors would come back the following year after did their freshman year in college and come back at Christmas to watch Christmas tournament. They had a lot of appeal. Well, in more modern times now, more recent times, we've got a lot of competition with clubs and academies. So the new thing in youth soccer is the development of academies. And the academies, at the highest level of the academy structures, they make the kid choose between playing high school or playing club. So once they choose the academy, they can't play high school. So in order for us to maintain some a higher degree of visibility. The Champions League to us at just the right time. Couldn't have been at a better time. Like I said, we just finished the second year for the boys. Girls are starting the second year. But there's always a lot of talk about it. So each year it's growing. The boys had 2 championship final games out at Creve Coeur Park, and it was overflow, standing room only crowds, and there was total excitement. And the girls had a great final last year at Maryville. So that's a little bit of where we are, Kevin, and let me send it back to you for your comments.
Well, I'll take it like we're pond fishing. And I'm going to throw in the line with how do you remember the points? How do you get the winners with the games? Everybody's in a pool. There's 4 pools, 4 teams in each pool. How do you determine the winner of the pool?
Okay, we've simplified it. I mean, it can't be any simpler than this. You get 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie. And that's all we're doing. That's all you get. Now, if there's each pool, the 4 pools, we have 4 pools. Each pool will have a winner. The winner will be whichever team has the most points. If there's a tie in the pool, then there's different tie-breaking. There's 5 or 6 different tie-breaking elements that can sort that out. And the last of the element, if everything is tied down to the last element, then it comes down to a coin toss. But we got head-to-head competition. We got goal differential. We've got goals scored. We've got shutouts. We've got goals allowed. And so we got the most goals scored, the most shutouts, the fewest goals allowed. And then the last thing, the 6th one, is the coin toss. So, so far we've been okay. We haven't had too much to deal with in terms of that. But if we have to, it's in place, ready to go.
Well, that was a keeper. I got a couple. Now I'm going to throw in the other one. Is that what is the pageantry?
Say it again. What's what?
What is the pageantry of the Champions League?
Okay, good. I'm glad you brought that up. I used the word protocol and pageantry earlier. Okay, what does that mean? So we had a meeting in December with our board, made up of mostly all the different coaches that are involved, and from that meeting we came up with some different ideas about how we can keep this thing in good position.
You there, Terry?
Facility is responsible for providing the pageantry of the Champions League. And some do, and some kind of do it, and some don't. So the site managers, their responsibility is to make sure that every site that they're covering does it the same way, so that we have some consistency and we celebrate the Champions League like it's done in the big picture in Europe. So what does that mean? Well, here's what the site manager checklist comes down to. First of all, we ask our site managers to arrive on site at least 45 minutes prior to the game. And their first responsibility is when they show up, they'll be wearing a Champions League polo shirt with the crest on it and a baseball cap with the logo crest on that. So they'll be easily identified as part of our group. And then they are to find the lead person in each of the different locations. Most likely, it all usually will be an athletic director, and introduce themselves. And then they'll have a sheet with these things that I'm going to be mentioning. And they want to go over and review these points with the athletic director and make sure that all these are going to be followed through. Okay. So we're looking for some of the things we're looking for. And some would be nice to have. Some are definitely required to have. But it'd be nice if we could get corner flags with the Champions League logo on them, and it's available. Um, like for instance, St. Dominic's has a set that was done for them, and so this is something that maybe we might need to consider doing at the administrative level, is to have a set of flags who should be identified as Champions League. Um, what else do we got here? Let's see here. Yeah, the big thing is we've got a national sponsor from Select Sport through Tim McAvoy, local guy, and Tim has gifted every team select soccer balls, top of the line select balls, the best ball they have, and it's expected that these will be used for game balls in the Champions League competition, not to be used for practice balls, but strictly for game balls. So when the photographer is out there taking a picture and it shows up in the newspaper somewhere, and you can read the label, you read Select. So that's our way of helping give back to them for sponsors, giving them some recognition. In the Champions League, the protocol is that both teams line up side by side, and they're led out onto the field by the referees. And the referee, after a few steps, stops and picks up the game ball off of a ball stand. That's part of the pitch. So we've asked each school, each facility, each host facility to provide some form of a ball stand so that we can put the select ball on the stand, and the referee, as they're walking out, can pick it up off the stand. It's a minor thing, but it's just something different that isn't done on regular game days. Um, and then we want ball persons. Preferably, we like they have. Ideally, like to have 4 ball persons, and we're going to provide them with a bib scrimmage vest that will have the Champions League logo on that. So we're trying to get as much publicity as we can to promote this Champions League and to distinguish it from just any other ordinary game. And then the big thing is uh, each game will start with a parade where the referee will lead the 2 teams out in single file line, side by side, and they'll do that while the Champions League anthem is playing over the PA, and that adds a real touch of class to do that. So we asked the site manager to get with the person in charge and to make sure that the introductory remarks are proper. And we have 2 paragraphs that we like for them to read. Um, and the gist of the 2 paragraphs is to welcome everybody to the Champions League, give a brief little statement about the Champions League, and then to welcome all the attendees, but then also to recognize our sponsors. It's really important that we recognize our sponsors. So that's the function. And then at the end of the game, we ask the site managers to send a report back, letting us know how things went, if everything went according to protocol. And coincidentally, John Schafering, one of our site managers, produced the form for us. It's very simple. It's a checklist type of a thing. And so we'll make that available for all the managers to use. And that'll tell us who's doing what. Who gets all the checks and who's missing a few checks. All right, Kev.
All right, that was a good catch. But I got the sponsors. We have Select Sports America, which is the national sponsor. The greatest ball, the greatest sports gear that you need, anything and everything. As a matter of fact, Wales Certified only plays and practices with a select ball. No other substitutions. And then we have the Athletic Republic. It's a new sponsor this year with getting that. You talk about the physical with a physical genius. You look good, man. And how you get that is that they know soccer, and they train and they push you and elevate you to a soccer body. Now, can you imagine the whale with a soccer body? Man, okay. So now we got the only place, when I cross that river, there's only one place I get gas or anything else, convenience store wise. Fast lane. Fast lane convenience stores. My car doesn't run unless it's got their gas. They got the coldest drinks, the warmest coffees, and so forth and so forth. Delicious. Everything's top of the line at Fast Lane and at Athletic Republic and at Select because we're the Champions League. So you would think that we would only get champion sponsors.
Well done. That's perfect. That's great.
All right, then. And the last thing everybody wants to get into the final, to win, to be the St. Louis High School Champions League winner. And there's one selected from the final that is called the Virtuoso Award.
Hey, good job.
Now, you know me that I know you. I'm trying. I'm trying to be a virtuoso each and every day. So when I get it, it's like, okay, it's another day. But to be the virtuoso, wow, what a man, oh man. So you don't get that anywhere else but the places. And so were you thinking, how do you want to close it up?
Okay, I get 2 more points. One, along with kind of the same lines as the Virtuoso Award, we also have a scholarship award, and the scholarship is given not necessarily to the best players, but to the players that do the most service work and combine being good players, good teammates, but also being good members of the community. And we have that's part of the sponsorship is that there's a certain amount that they're given to offset their college costs. So that's part of our program as well. And the last thing is, again, going back to the site managers, like I said earlier, we need a few more. So if you're a listener and this is something you'd like to do, if you got time and you like to watch some good soccer, good high school soccer, and be part of the movement to make sure that it's done right and want to be a site manager and check on, make sure the protocol and the pageantry is up to speed, we'd love to have you. So contact Kevin or myself, and we'll get you on board.
Well, Coach, that comes to mind that, we might be doing a podcast with all the service, with site managers.
That's a possibility for sure.
Yeah.
Especially a couple games in, everybody's had a chance to do it.
And then comes the service hours. It's my understanding you can't graduate from high school unless you got service hours.
Right. That's standard anymore, right?
Yeah, and we go above standard, so we're virtuosos. So when somebody wins that award, you can rest assured that he or she was outstanding.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, the Virtuoso Award is given to the most outstanding player in the final. That's a little different than the scholarship award that I was talking about.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
2 separate awards. Yeah, right. And the scholarship award is immaterial to whether your team gets to the final round or not. It's just if your team participates and you're that kind of a person and you get recognition, and you have to submit a written paragraph or so and get some endorsement on it, stating what you did and somebody sign off on it, and then it's read by a committee, and the committee decides which one of the applicants is the most worthy.
Amazing. And all the coaches coming together. That's really a sweet thing. So there we go. We're here, and we're about to be there. The whale premiere is this Wednesday out at Nerrick's Hall, and that's going to be a game, baby. I guarantee. So, if you just in closing, is to say the teams that are in the Champions League is, and you'll see if you look at the games that they're playing. So, say for Pool A, if you see St. Dominic going to play Eureka, North Point, or France, Fort Zumwalt North, bingo, that's a Champions League game. And over at B is Liberty, Koryezu Academy, Fort, is it Francis House Central? I apologize, and Clayton. So when you see those teams play, that's a Champions League match. And then when you go over there to Fort Zumwalt South, Timberland, Parkway West, and Marquette, if you see them play, bingo, you know that's a Champions League. And then the Ladue High School, Nerrick's Hall, St. Joseph Academy, and Ursuline Academy. When you see them, you know it's a Champions League. And if you see the whale with a shirt on, or with a cap, you know that's a site advisor. Yeah, so it's the pageantry of it all, and so Terry, we have meetings together and stuff with the committee, but I have been able to talk to coaches and Steve Hudson, the athletic director who gets everything over at Clayton High School. He's been instrumental on everything. The referees, this, that, blah, blah, boom. But all the coaches that I have talked to, they grin from ear to ear. And all the players, they get a thrill to play in this high school Champions League.
Well, we're trying to make it special, so that's good. That's a good comment.
All right, then. Well, as you know, the story at Whale Certified, at the end, whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to for as long as you want to say it for. Here you go, Coach.
All right. So I'd like to promote the opportunity for any of you. If you're looking for a game to watch, pick out a Champions League game. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Hopefully you'll have an experience that's a little bit different than a normal soccer game that you would attend. And so, that's our goal, is to make it a little bit different. We got quality teams because they all arrived in the tournament because they qualified under different conditions. It's not just to raise your hand and get in if you want, pay a fee. But that's not the way it works at all. So, yeah, we're real proud of where we are with it. And we've got our sights set high. Our standards are high. We want to see this thing take off. And we want it to be something that our local community can be proud of, and that the high school kids look forward to playing. And that you as a fan can have enjoyment watching a high-quality game. Give it some thought.
There you go. And I'll get back to you after the pool winners to get in the semifinals of the St. Louis High School Champions League. Okay, Terry.
Good job, Kev. Thank you.
All right, now.